Hey guys, it's Dan with Flawedoffroad. Does your Jeep suffer from anxiety, depression, or extreme hot temperatures under the hood? If so, I'm going to show you a free way to handle that without having to buy expensive hood louvers. So I don't know what it is about Jeeps. You put a lift on them, big tires, and all of a sudden, it's like you can cook your morning breakfast on the hood of these things. They get so hot under the hood. When it was stock, it never did that. It's definitely a problem, and it was to the point where it was causing me to shut down on the trail with vapor lock and all kinds of stuff. So one of the first steps that I took to solve that problem was I decided I wanted some hood vents. But then I got looking at the prices, and I was like, man, that's kind of expensive. So the solution that I came up with at the time, and I did this years ago, but I'm going to actually show you how to do it on my other Jeep that's out in the driveway. And that is making your own hood vents. Basically, all I did was I actually took a grill grate and I spray painted through it onto a piece of paper to give me the hole pattern. I taped the paper on there, measured it out on each side, and then I just took a hole punch and punched them all. And then I just drilled all these holes out. You can see these two rows have smaller holes, and those ones have bigger. I did that just for aesthetic reasons. Now when you're done, you can see the bare metal where it stripped your paint away. So that's when I came up with this idea. I just taped off this little design around it and hit it with some spray paint real quick. Honestly, while this is 100% free, if you have the tools to do it. So basically all you need to do this is a drill bit, hammer, and a center punch, preferably. You can print a design right off the internet unless you have some other design, or maybe you want to freehand it. There's all different kinds of ways you can do this and tons of different designs you can use, and it's totally up to you how you do it, but I'm going to show you how I did it.
So if you do a quick search for hole pattern, this is a pretty standard one. This is actually the one that I'm going to be using. But if you look around, there's different shapes, sizes, patterns. You've got your straight ones like this. I think this one's pretty cool, but we're just going to open this in a new tab and we're going to go ahead and print it. Now, you might have to play around with the scale settings a little bit to get it to fit the page how you want it, so you have enough holes to make a vent big enough. Now, obviously, you can change the size of these holes with the size of your drill bit, but if you get them too close together, then you're limited by that. So play around with the scale on your print page. Once you're satisfied with that, go ahead and print it out and we'll get started.
So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna get this thing a super straight line to measure from. And I'm gonna line it up right with the edge of the bottom of all these holes. And now we're gonna cut that. I'm gonna do it off of this one just so I have a line to measure from that I know is square. And that's that. I can't cut this one off because I actually want to use that hole, but I can just line it up with the tape measure. So we're gonna get a couple pieces of tape ready. So I want the first hole to be 5 inches from the edge of the hood. I'll make a little mark. It's just pencil, so it ain't gonna hurt nothing. And then I want these to be 1 inch up from the bottom. Now I really don't care about this paint, so I'm doing it the easy way. It's actually bed liner and it's just pencil, so it'll come right off. So what I want to do is take this line that I made and line it up with that line, and then line the whole bottom edge that we cut up with that line right there. Tape it down a little bit and step back and take a look. Make sure it's how we want it. Looks good to me. Just doing this so these edges can't come up. And now we're gonna make all our marks for drilling. We're just gonna do our best to center it up on these holes. Make little punch marks in the hood. Did we miss any? No. I want to peel this back and make sure they transfer good. And they did. They're a little hard to see. I don't know if from that angle you can see it, but I can see it, which is good enough. So we'll probably use a 1/4-inch starter bit, and then we'll drill them out. I'm guessing I'm gonna go with 1/2 inch. We'll see how it looks like. And that reminds me, we should probably raise the hood. This drill bit is crooked. I'm going to use a smaller one just so that it stays put in these little divots a little better. So one thing I did want to point out is you want to check on the back side of where you're putting this before you do it. I did that beforehand, but I just wanted to make note of it so that you don't drill into something. Like there's a little structural beam that's just a little bit below here, and that's where I came up with that measurement from, so that we could avoid hitting that. And that's why we don't use bed liner, kids. I got this feeling this bed liner's just gonna crack the whole way throughout, and I really don't care because it's just a parts Jeep. And that's that. So now we got to enlarge them. Now one thing I wanted to point out, this thing has a really bad bed liner paint job on it. This isn't going to happen to your normal paint if you got normal paint. This was just, I was drilling too hard, the drill slammed into it, it cracked it. Doesn't matter. Ooh, my fingers are so cold I can't even feel it. For this last size, these other 2 rows, I'm going to just go a couple sizes smaller. This is a 13/32 bit. See if it just gives it a different look. If not, I'll just drill them all to 1/2 inch. So right now we're going to ignore the horrible bed liner problem, and we're going to address the problem of these holes having sharp edges. Now if you have some kind of like a countersink bit that you could run on it lightly, that would probably work. I'm going to try to just take this step bit and just, these are 1/2 inch holes, I'm going to just gently rub the 9/16 edge on there and see if it smooths them out. This one's pretty sharp, so we'll try it here. Yep, nice and smooth. That worked okay. It would be better if you had either like a carbide bit or a small countersink or something. You can also come through and do these from the back side too. Those feel a whole lot better now. I don't care about that Jeep I was just doing that on. Make sure you go a little slower, be a little less violent with the drill, and hopefully this won't happen to you with the chipped bed liner paint or whatever. I was careless with it. That doesn't mean you need to be. If you want to see more of a finished product, again, here's the one I did on my Jeep years ago. And while it's not like a piece of artwork that needs to be in a museum, it doesn't look horrible, and it definitely does a good job of venting some heat out. Now, you can get as creative as you want with these. I've actually considered putting some of them down here or here, and it's also possible, you can put them in any orientation that you want on top of the hood. It's completely up to you. For some reason, the passenger side ones blow more hot air out than these ones when it's just sitting here idling. So that's pretty much all there is to it. If you want free hood vents and you got some tools laying around and a little bit of time, you can take it as creative as you want to do it. Just don't get mad at me if you fuck your hood up, chip the paint,
whatever, drill your holes wrong, it looks like shit, that's your problem. It's an idea that most people don't even think of. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. We're going to be doing more cheap mods, fixes, repairs, things like that. Axle swaps in this YJ. I've got an M101 Army trailer we're going to be building soon. Thanks for watching Flawedoffroad. We'll see you in the next one.